After Elle Duncan made a startling remark regarding Caitlin Clark, ESPN terminated her contract. In a surprising turn of events, ESPN has once again captured media attention this time for letting go of one of its key figures, Elle Duncan.
Why?
It all started with Duncan's relentless campaign against Caitlin Clark. Breanna Stewart's never going to win another championship or, Nafisa Collier's better than Maya Moore. Like, instead of those kinds of hot takes, the hot takes solely and explicitly surround all of these black women versus Caitlin Clark. Monty Jones and Elle Duncan have teamed up to do what seemingly every person of color, aka every African American in the WNBA, around the WNBA, and in media are doing. They're coming at the 22-year-old white, straight girl, Caitlin Clark. Because see, here's the deal, because Caitlin Clark can throw a ball into a basket deeper and better than anybody in the history of women's basketball, because Caitlin Clark plays with a flair. A rising star who has been nothing short of extraordinary in the WNBA. Instead of applauding Clark's remarkable accomplishments, Duncan took a different approach. One that ultimately led to her downfall at ESPN. Before we dive into the specifics, let's take a moment to understand how Duncan's actions led to her termination from ESPN. It shouldn't come as a surprise that she faced backlash. Accusations without supporting evidence are rarely well received by viewers, and it was only a matter of time before ESPN had to sever ties. Let's hear from Dan Dakic, who had a lot to say about Duncan's approach and the double standards at play. She has never been around these type of women. She's never been around, black women or women from different parts of the country. Like, she sort of existed in this bubble. How arrogant is this? Now, seriously, how arrogant is this? Honest to God, this is as arrogant as you can possibly be. I mean, I hear all the time, don't judge me. Don't judge me by the color of the skin. Don't judge
Me.
Really? Okay. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're sitting there and judging
Me.
You're judging a woman you have no idea. None. Zero zip. Today, we'll take a closer look at the heart of the controversy, analyzing why ESPN took this bold step and how Elle Duncan's criticism of Caitlin Clark evolved into what many are now calling a witch hunt.
But there's more to this story than meets the eye.
Stay tuned as we reveal all the details. Let's hear from Danny K, who spoke at length about Duncan's approach and the unfairness of the situation. He highlights the inconsistencies. Criticism is one thing, but Duncan's approach went too far, veering into personal attacks. It's a bitter pill to swallow. But the truth is that Duncan's remarks struck a nerve. Everybody that I know, still know at ESPN tells me, it's so ridiculous, these women. It's so ridiculous. There's a green room right next to where the makeup is. It's loud. It's stupid. It's asinine. It's absurd. And that's Elle Duncan and her little cast of cronies. All the little girls at ESPN, look, all they are is trying to make themselves, well, not better, more popular. I don't care what they do. Elle Duncan has lived in that bubble forever. Elle Duncan is full of shit. Here. Not in the way she had hoped. Instead of gaining support, she quickly faced backlash from fans, analysts, and even fellow commentators who questioned why she chose to focus on Clark's supposed privilege rather than her undeniable talent on the court. Let's take a closer look at what Dakic had to say about Duncan and the jealousy that seemed to be brewing among ESPN's commentators. His remarks were hurtful, but they also reflected what many spectators believed.
Criticism is
valid, but it loses credibility when it seems driven by envy. The second that you show love to anybody not named Caitlin Clark, you are part of, some constituency that's trying to keep her contributions at a minimum, and you're racist, and we get a lot of
that.
It's no wonder that the W coverage is all black women, because you're all in it together to try to keep her down. It's just, you're kind of damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Caitlin
Clark's entry into the WNBA has been nothing short of revolutionary.
Her statistics speak for themselves.
She leads the league in points per game and has boosted women's basketball viewership by nearly 40% since her debut, drawing fans from across the nation to watch her play. Yet, despite this success, Duncan's focus was on undermining Clark's achievements. Let's revisit a moment that many believe crossed the line in Duncan's criticism. When your arguments are rooted more in envy than facts, it's hard to convince viewers. The truth is, Caitlin Clark's story is far from one of privilege. Caitlin Clark has literally carried the sport on her back all summer long. She talks that young That's what resonates with Caitlin Clark. It isn't her being white. It isn't her being straight. Her game resonates with people in basketball and across the country because she's got that edge. She plays with a flair. I heard her drop 3 F-bombs in one game sitting right there courtside. Her teammates had to hold her back. She's yelling at the coach. That's what Magic Bird, Isaiah, Jordan, you name it, that's what they
Do.
Clark resonates. But that clicking sound you hear is television's being turned off. Ain't nobody watching this stuff.
Now.
Ain't nobody turning the set out and saying, I gotta watch who. She has faced numerous obstacles both on and off the court while competing against athletes from all walks of life. Many perceive Duncan's narrative as a direct attempt to undermine Clark's achievements as she struggled to find any legitimate flaws in Clark's performance. Despite this, Duncan continued her criticism. Let's take a look at how Clark dominated the court and proved her critics wrong. She was making headlines for all the right reasons. And then to have someone come in who has been amazing for the game, for the sport of her own volition, worked really hard in Caitlin Clark. But to have this group of people come in and immediately invalidate the contributions of all of these women before her simply because they don't know, that's what's been frustrating. So yes, people are going to talk about it more, but oh my God, please just educate yourself so that you can have bad takes that involve basketball and not bad takes that send racism and misogyny into the timelines of these women. It's unfair. As we move forward, let's examine how Duncan's remarks weren't just aimed at Clark. They also targeted her fan base. Analyst Dan Day didn't hold back in pointing out the glaring double standards, arguing that Elle Duncan's attacks were fueled by something deeper, a resentment rooted in Clark's rapid rise to fame rather than any legitimate criticism. Fans don't like to be categorized or labeled, and this only served to exacerbate an already tense situation. Through all the drama, there's a fire burning beneath it all. Caitlin Clark is nice. She doesn't wear booty shorts. She doesn't shake her ass. She has a boyfriend. Seems very humble. I mean to tell you, I saw yesterday Angel Reese is wearing shorts that are up her ass and shaking her ass at something, and good for her, very popular. In contrast to her detractors, Caitlin Clark stayed focused on her strengths as a basketball player, discussing in interviews her dedication to the sport and respect for her colleagues. I told you this about people at ESPN. People at ESPN come there and they're all excited. They're all excited and they're all happy to be at the worldwide leader. It's a pinnacle for some people. And then when you get there and look, somebody likes you, you're a woman of color, so Dave Roberts, who's a man of color, is going to promote you. It's automatic. When you have liberal, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, then subscribe to the channel. Views, it's automatic. So through no performance, it's not like anybody tunes in to see what Elle Duncan is going to say, but you become very arrogant. You become very, very important. While Clark refrained from using harsh language or engaging in negativity, her rivals attempted to draw attention to themselves with various strategies. Let's take a look at how one of her critics, Angel Reese, tried to shift the narrative.
Fans
Continue to support her, which is understandable given that sometimes it's best to let your talents speak for themselves. However, the drama doesn't end there. Let's hear from Dan Dockey once more as he exposes the conceit of some ESPN commentators. Caitlin Clark just came in to play basketball. All of a sudden, the black women of the WNBA decided to knock her on her ass from behind. All of a sudden, the black women, Angel Reese and her teammates decided to cheer for them. All of a sudden, other black women decided to tackle her at half court. All of a sudden, other black women decided, like Asia Wilson, to be idiots when talking about her, jealous when they're talking about her. Caitlin Clark and her fans didn't start anything. Caitlin Clark just came into the league, and a bunch of fans rooted for her. But all of a sudden, Kennedy Carter's knocking her on her ass from behind. What do you think people are going to talk about? What do you think? Clark's humility and dedication have earned her the admiration of countless fans, proving that she is not only a star on the court but also a class act off it. It's no wonder so many people are rooting for her during this controversy, seeing her as a breath of fresh air in a sport that desperately needs positivity. Caitlin Clark in a fever. She was still able to generate over 1 million viewers for Friday's game against the Lynx on IM. The NFL was on at the same time. This is what I'm talking about here. This is one of the most amazing stories you will ever see in sports. Now, Shaq, who I'm starting to think is an idiot. Hey, you're great, but you ain't that great yet. Calm down. We still got Diana Taurasi. We still got Asia Wilson. If you're going to give Caitlyn props, make sure our girls that are dominating in this league get the same props.
Oh no.
Oh, hell no. Nobody gives a rat's ass about A'ja Wilson, America's most immature, most valuable player.
No.
One gives a rat's ass, nor did they ever truly give a rat's ass to the level of Caitlin Clark of Diana Taurasi. Oh, no. Shaquille O'Neal. See, this is different. These other women we've seen before, that we've seen women like A'ja Wilson play from the free throw line down. We've seen Diana Taurasi before trying to look like a dude playing basketball. Just stop it, stupid. I mean, they're good players in a bad league, but none have flair. None have energy. None have captivated us. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Despite the drama, Clark remained focused on her game. Her scathing words cut through the narrative, exposing the hypocrisy many fans had sensed. What does Duncan's resignation mean for the future of ESPN? The fallout at the network is just beginning. Let's take a step back for a more comprehensive perspective. Some black women in the WNBA suddenly took it upon themselves to knock Caitlin Clark down, literally and figuratively, as she stepped into the spotlight. After Angel Reese and her teammates chose to support Clark, other players, particularly black women, decided to attack her at midcourt, accusing people like A'ja Wilson of expressing jealousy. When things start to feel like a coordinated effort, it's hard not to wonder if there's more going on behind the scenes. Now, let's look at how Clark's influence extends beyond the court and why others have struggled to match her impact. Caitlin Clark and her supporters didn't start any drama. They simply entered the league and fans rallied behind them. But now, suddenly, players like Kennedy Carter are taking shots at her from behind. What do you think the conversation will be about? I'm talking about Caitlin Clark, who, despite being sick, managed to draw over 1 million viewers to a game against the Lynx, a game that was competing with the NFL. That's an incredible achievement in sports. And then there's Shaq, who, honestly, I'm starting to question, saying, hey, you're great, but you're not that great. Calm down. We still have Diana Taurasi and A'ja Wilson. Let's be real. No one cares about A'ja Wilson. Nobody cares about America's most valuable but immature athlete. Nobody ever really cared about Caitlin Clark or Diana Taurasi until now. Oh no, Shaq, this is different. A'ja Wilson may be great, but her game has been limited. Taurasi might be a legend, but she hasn't inspired the way Clark has. This is about more than just stats. It's about flair, enthusiasm, and capturing the imagination of the fans. Caitlin Clark has all of
that.
And while Duncan's termination sends a clear message, it will take time to see if ESPN can refocus on what really matters, supporting athletes who elevate the game. For now, Caitlin Clark has proven that no amount of criticism can dim her shine. She remains a symbol of what's possible when talent meets determination. ESPN seems to be trying to distance itself from the toxic drama that has obviously overshadowed what should be a celebration of incredible talent like Clark's. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my analysis, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Until next time, keep watching the game, and let's honor those who truly make it great. Thank you. Subscribe my channel.